Hi guys, welcome back. This week, I saw the leader of an online forum for workers post that the administration in Washington is a bunch of lawless bandits. And the very next day, that same leader posted, "This isn't a political forum and political posts are explicitly uninvited." And then he kept right on posting political stuff. And on the heels of that, I got a comment to one of my videos that wasn't political at all as far as I could tell, that said, "Keep the content political free. Employment isn't political." Those two things happening so close together made me wonder, should we really be trying to keep politics out of our discussion about what's happening to workers right now? And I don't think we can. Wealthy employers spend billions of dollars every year on lobbyists, think tanks, and campaign donations to convince politicians to rig the system in their favor. How can that not be political? And if we know that they're doing that, and we do, and we turn a blind eye to it, how is that helping us exactly? Like it or not, our rights are a political issue right now. But our fight to protect those rights is not a partisan battle. I've seen politicians from both parties do things that hurt workers. And a few of the worst were bipartisan efforts, where they held hands, sang kumbaya, and did it together. Unfortunately, what's happening to workers right now is worse than anything I've ever seen before. And I can't really see how I'd be helping you guys if I kept talking about how to win your EEOC fight without acknowledging that the landscape is shifting. That's not all I'm going to be talking about. For those of you who still have active EEOC fights, I'm still going to be sharing tips and information to help you win. But I'm going to have to talk about some of the things that are happening out there. And when I do, I'm going to try to keep it bipartisan. But I know that there's still going to be some people out there who are offended by what I have to say. After all, we all know who's doing this, and there's no way for me to shield them from criticism. I'm biased in favor of workers, and I don't intend to change that. You don't have to be. And if you're on the employer side, whether you're in HR or union rep, an attorney or whatever, first of all, I want to say thank you for caring enough to be here. And I want to invite you to speak up if you feel like my biases are getting out of hand and they're too much. Your perspective could help someone. And for those of you who are MAGA supporters, I have some things that I want to say to you too. But first, I want to talk to you federal workers. You guys have really been through the ringer lately. And it pains me to see all these people who know nothing at all about federal service just assume that the only reason anybody would take a federal job is because they can't cut it in a real job. When I was in my late 30s, I was invited to interview and ended up getting an offer to be the director of a prestigious private sector lab that developed all kinds of new cutting-edge tech. They offered me 3 times my NASA salary, and that was a lot of money. But taking that job would have meant longer work hours, shorter vacations, and less time with my family. And I'd have had very little job security. Federal jobs have safeguards against arbitrary firings that don't exist in the private sector anymore. And I loved the work I was doing at NASA. I didn't really want to do anything else. So I turned down the extra money and stayed in the federal sector. And I tell you this because I'm not alone. Most of my colleagues at NASA, and quite a few of my colleagues at other agencies, made similar decisions because time with our family, merit-based promotions, and a mission that we cared about mattered more to us than the extra income. Now, people who are fans of what's happening right now tell me that they think it's time to get rid of the dead weight. And honestly, I'd be down with that. But to get rid of dead weight, first you have to identify where it is. You don't just indiscriminately start firing people. And if you're going to try to tell me that all federal workers are dead weight, save your breath. When employers and the politicians they own want to roll back workers' rights, one of the ways they go about that is to create a public narrative that says the only workers who care about rights are lazy and worthless. Essentially, the message they're sending is that if you care about your rights, it's because you want something for nothing. And to you viewers who may be MAGA supporters, and I know you're out there, I don't want to speak about you in coded language. I want to speak directly to you. If you're fighting illegal discrimination, you are as welcome here as anyone else. And I am happy to help you if I can, because illegal discrimination is always wrong, no matter who the victim is. But there will be things that you and I disagree on because our politics are different. And I'm willing to discuss those differences if we can keep it civil. And if you're really here for help, you should be able to do that. Fact is, if you can't do that, you're going to have a really hard time with a fight like this. And from my perspective, a lot of what's happening right now has nothing to do with red or blue, right or left. It's about power. And the fact is that we workers, no matter where we fall politically, have far less of it than the people who sign our paychecks. If we want to stand up for ourselves, our chances are better together. Collectively, we have power that none of us have alone. And I think we need to try to keep that power. Feel free to agree or not in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Meanwhile, take care and hang in.